as we know from Rudolf Steiner, the more we develop ourselves, that higher self is there to give itself away. It's there for service. And this is where empathy comes in, that we first have to really get to know ourselves and take ourselves on. But having found my truth, I have to expand that truth to include others. That's what I understand by empathy. Empathy is, in my words, feeling myself into another human being by expanding my own truth to include other truths or other perspectives of the truth, because we all, as long as we are earthly beings, only have our one perspective of the truth. And I can only work towards finding the ultimate truth through engaging with the perspectives of others. In other words, expanding myself to include other perspectives. That's not easy. That's not an easy process. But that is what we can try to do when we interact with people of the world and when we try to practice empathy. And that is what this forum is all about. Finding self through others, it's called, is in our title, Empathy as a Path to Just and Fraternal Society. In other words, expanding our view of society to include all the differences of each other, particularly those of a different culture who I don't understand. And how do I include those who I don't understand into my field of experience or contextual consciousness? How do I do that? And Edward Glissant, the Caribbean cultural researcher, cultural identity and cultural researcher, he said that I need to acknowledge opacity, that my soul is allowed to have areas where it's opaque. That means where it doesn't understand. And I don't need to understand everybody in order to respect them. And I think that's what we can learn, we Europeans can learn from the Japanese. They respect everybody, and somehow respect is one of their underlying qualities and characteristics which they stand by and which they show and manifest in their greeting and in their interactions with each other. But unless that becomes self-directed and self-intended, it can also be a trap, it can be a mask, it can also limit themselves from becoming independent. And what I'm saying about empathy is that we need to, out of our own independence, meet another person, realize what I can and what I can't understand of another person, and accept both. I don't need to understand you fully in order to accept you. And that's opacity. And if I can acknowledge that I've got some clear parts in my soul where I understand another, and I've got some parts, opaque parts in my soul where I don't understand others, I can still love you for that, if it's my own intention.